Namaskar. In this program for Yoga for Unity, I am happy to participate from Kaivalyadhama Lonavla, an institution founded in 1924 and soon to complete 100 years of its thriving existence. And while we try to take various dimensions of yoga to public at large, I have some very interesting questions, and I will try to answer them in a way where we understand yoga as a darshana and yoga as a science. So the first question is, yoga is an ancient practice. How is it relevant for people living in modern busy life? And I think it's a very interesting question. The general belief system about yoga has been that probably we'll take it up when we cross our 50 years. And that is not true. But we need to understand in a wider perspective. Yoga has been a darshana in the philosophical realms. And darshan means a philosophy which has an experiential paradigm. But I don't want to sound too philosophical or too complicated. If the principles of philosophy are experiential, then principles remain the same, though the time period keeps on changing. And this I am saying in context of the question that it is an ancient practice and how is it relevant to the modern times. So what I say is principles of a yoga are time immemorial. And they will remain time immemorial because they are based on human personality. And the fundamental nature of human personality will remain the same since it has thousands of years. The context will keep on changing. For example, during the hunting age, individuals, the hunters, used to have fight or flight reaction when they probably saw a tiger in the jungle, because that was the survival instinct. And that caused the physiological, the psychological changes in their times. Thousands of years later, we still have fight or flight reaction that is a human being will have, except for the fact that the circumstances may have changed. You might just end up in a panic mode because your Wi-Fi has gone off. And you might just like to solve that as soon as possible, which generates a lot of stress. So the essential element is there, but the time has changed the context. And therefore I say that yoga provides us those tools at your physiological, at your psychological, at your emotional, social and spiritual level to ensure you are in synthesis, to ensure that you are in harmony, to ensure that you are peaceful, you are healthy in all dimensions. So whether it is ancient time or whether it is modern time, like it is said, a person who is in harmony, an individual who is in harmony definitely will yield better results in areas of their work, will be better members of the family, will do things in the best way possible because of the integrated personality they have. And yoga is a tool towards going towards an integrated personality. So, it remains to be as relevant, if not, I would say more important today, because we have moved from physical labor intensive jobs to mind intensive jobs, to jobs, to an environment which takes toll on our emotions. And yoga is the perfect answer for integrating these aspects of health. So, I think it is more relevant than probably it was before, because the principles will remain the same. So, that answers my first question. Second question is yoga for everyone, or should one have specific abilities, and can we start yoga at any age? Interesting. Part 1 of the question about abilities comes from the thought where yoga has been perceived to be largely yoga asanas, and therefore the question probably of the abilities, of the fitness, of the conditions. Yoga is a process, is a lifestyle, is a practice which is a combination as described in Ashtanga Yoga of Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan and Samadhi. Simple. So, it is a practice which leads you towards an integrated personality. To what extent you want to do is something which is your choice. So, there are no special abilities required, but it is an experiential science. Therefore, do not read too much about it, do not think too much about it, do not discuss too much about it. Just get a yoga mat, sit down and practice. Practice for 5 minutes, that is all right. Do it sincerely and regularly. You will see that the effect itself will be inspirational. So, no special abilities, it needs to be practiced, and the feel good factor, the feel good experience will lead you to further practice. Age, actually Swami Kaivalyadhama did prescribe. He said that for children the practice of Ashtanga Yoga could only probably be done in that understanding after 12 years of age. And that is because there is a level of understanding for yamas and niyamas, that sort of thing. But trying to teach a child even of 4 years old just to sit down and be able to concentrate on the breath, I think is a good idea. Trying to teach children who have special needs some postures which regulate their energy at age of 4 is a good idea. Kaivalyadhama conducted a very intensive research on yoga and its impact on special children, and we made them do asanas, we made them take out sounds of the cat and the dog, and these were special children, but we had such profound impact on them. So, what I intend saying is that there is no age barrier, but what could be taught to them at a younger age needs to be curated. On the higher side, the last student who came in Kaivalyadhama was 93 years old, and he said that, well, now I have got time to practice yoga. So, there is no age barrier, because like I said, it is a lifestyle, it is something which is imbibed in your life, and it is not about the body itself, it is about your mind, it is about your emotion, it is about your social attitude, it is about your spiritual well-being. So, no barriers at all, and you can start as early and as late as you want. And now we go to the third question, and that is, can yoga help being more effective in workplace, and how? Kaivalyadhama is actually concentrating on this aspect of yoga in workplace. The Ministry of Ayush has come out with a Y break, which is yoga break, which is for around 7 to 10 minutes. And the whole idea is very good. You take a coffee break, you take a tea break, you take other breaks, why not yoga break? And the pilot study which we did with the Ministry of Ayush, there was an extensive survey on the well-being of people who did it for 3 months for 10 minutes a day. The level of anger, anxiety, the calmness in individuals, the backache, everything, it impacted, yoga impacted it positively. So, workplace is a place for application of yoga, and I feel commonsensically, if we observe while we are at work, you are seated either long times, you're standing for the long time, depends on the profession you have. But taking a break where you can stretch your body, where you can regulate your breath and feel calmer and quieter. Sit with your eyes closed and develop some meditative techniques, and in 10 minutes, probably you would be in a better space than you were after working for 3 or 4 hours. So, I think it is an excellent idea. More and more corporates should be inviting their staff members to practice yoga. At workplace, a Y break, encourage it through various means. Probably a week they can do by themselves, and just for a day you call a trainer from outside and he interacts with everyone. Encourage them to take programs which are related to wellness, because prevention is better than cure. So, if you take care of your employees these ways, and they will be in better space, it would be an advantage to the organization itself, where you have a smiling employee, you have a healthy employee at all levels. And so, the simplest way is, initially now 2 years we have learned the art of online classes or a pre-recorded version. Encourage employees at different times to take a Y break, and someone rightly said, take a Y break before you break. So, you encourage them, 10 minutes practice, but it will definitely do a lot of good, and it doesn't require a yoga mat in the offices. All it is required is sitting on the chair, you stand up, do some practices. These practices are already available on the website of the ministry, or just type Y break and you get the list of practices. Very simple. So, that's the way to go forward, and I will encourage more and more people to take on the yoga break and encourage employees in whatever organizations, not only corporates, any workplace, we should be able to do that. So, that's that, and we have the fourth question now. Would you say that yoga can help in time management? What is your practical experience in this? Yes, with my background, where I am born in Kaivalyadhama, brought up in Kaivalyadhama, and studied law, where time management is important, worked for a few years in the court, came back to Kaivalyadhama, where you have a lot of work, not only of teaching, which is far less, but administering the whole institution. Now, I speak for myself, but many people will relate to this. Time management is about being aware, because the basic issue which arises with individuals as regarding the time management is we lose awareness of our surroundings, of ourselves. We get carried over by something which is in our hand, or we take on too much which we don't comprehend about how it will conclude or finish. And therefore, the issue arises of time management or stresses, because too much of commitment, too less of a time you are unable to manage. Through my personal experience, working in a yoga institution, driving it, I would not claim that there are no moments of stress. There are moments of stress. You are working, you're trying to get things done. but how you manage stress through application of principles of yoga is something which is very beautiful. How you generate more awareness through these practices is simply beautiful. So, the root of time management lies in your ability to be aware of each moment where you are. And if the awareness comes, then time management will automatically happen. Respect for time will automatically happen. Completion of tasks will almost happen. Planning well will happen, because the root of all this is awareness. So, definitely it plays a very important role in not only time management, I would say management of many things, because awareness is the core in all these aspects, and it will help us in so many things of our personal nature too. If you are aware, you will be more compassionate, you will be more empathetic, you will be more considerate, you will be responding more than you will be reacting. And these just come as so much of add on with these simple practices. And I again repeat, do not hesitate to get on to practice because you think it's at 1 hour or it requires. Start with 10 minutes and you will see so much of impact of all these practices in your life. And now the last question, and that is, will yoga help me to manage my relationship better at work and in the family? I think I answered this partially in my last question, that yoga is a holistic science. So, it impacts you at various levels. It will impact you being more aware. It will impact you to be more clear. Your experiences of integration, and in simple term is, if you get up off your bed in the morning and you are smiling, looking forward to the day, that is the effect of yoga. Relationships involve two individuals. It involves respect for human beings, respect, love, affection, compassion for the other human being. It requires the attitude of non-possessiveness towards the other human being. We miss this out. There is a concept of aparigraha in yoga, and that principle actually lays down more than the concentration of aparigraha, which is non-possessiveness. It is to understand possessiveness. To fill our internal vacuum, we either want to possess more things, or we want to possess people, or we want to possess relationships. And that's the wrong way to do it. When you speak of relationships, it will fructify better if you are able to fill your internal void by such practices, by evolving yourself spiritually. So, yoga has that strength which will fulfill you at your internal level, and therefore definitely the level of compassion, the level of love, the level of affection, the level of freedom in relationship, the level of trust in relationship will increase. Whether it is home, whether it is work, that element is necessary to maintain good relationships. And therefore, fulfilling your internal self is possible through practices of yoga. And then of course, everything follows, including your relationships at work and at family, because you are in sync with people, you are synced in with the energy of people. But yes, one has to practice, practice and practice. Swami Kaivalyadhama often emphasized, and he said that mere philosophical gymnastics in yoga are of no avail. And if you want to experience the sublime nature of a yoga, it is only through the practice that you are able to achieve. So, we can talk, we can discuss, but please ensure that after this discussion, you go and sit down and practice for 10 minutes. That is going to take us ahead. So, I thank you so much. We will close with the Shanti mantra, Purnamada Purnamidam. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.